Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack and this is your match reaction. Fenerbahce won, Manchester United won, and another, I suppose, underwhelming is probably the easiest way of saying it. Underwhelming night for United in Europe. Off the bat, I'm not massively disappointed, to be honest, but we're going to get the lads' opinion. As always, we've got Chris, we've got Ben, and we've got Oisín in. I think Chris is on mute, so he's going to be with us in picture only. I think he's frozen there as well, by the way. So
He's stuck at the traffic lights.
Yeah, exactly. Oisín, I'll go to you first. I mean, look, 1-1, generally 1-1 away from home against a Turkish side in Europe is not the worst result in the world. And I think, me personally, for large parts of that game, I thought we were doing quite well. And Fenerbahce only really had the one chance. What did you make of the game in general?
Well, I think we set up a team that we were all questioning beforehand, but we set up a team not to get beat as opposed to go out and get a 3 or 4-0 win, which we were never going to do anyway. But, I mean, they had a few chances in the first half. Ugarte's block, which was, I mean, that was exceptional. He just got a big toe on that and just got it away. Onana's double save at the end of the half as well kept us in it. But in the second half, it was kind of nothing happened besides that goal. And it was that time after the halftime break when we always seem to, for some reason, just don't come out of that dressing room with the heads on. And Lindelof was caught ball watching and led to the equaliser, Like you said, it's hard to be too negative, but it also feels like 2 points dropped that were there for the taking. We were set up so... Okay, I said it in the group chat as a negative. We were set up so rigid and so organized. We were really hard to break down. Yeah, they had 60% possession, but they didn't do much with it. They did very little with it, I felt.
And do you think that was testament to how United defended?
I think so. I mean, De Ligt and Lindelof in the first half. De Ligt in particular was...
He's having a really good run of games, isn't he?
He has... Maybe the kick in the head kind of sorted him out a small bit at the weekend. Might have put us in place. Martinez, I think, I prefer him more central, but at left back, he's holding his own. But Ugarte was the big difference tonight, I felt. He was Casemiro from 2 years ago. He was breaking up the play. He was shielding the back four. He was starting to move some back to front. I thought Rashford had a good game. Garnacho was a bit quiet in the first half. Okay, he started the move for the goal, but I thought he was very quiet in the first half. Second half, he came alive. Again, some questionable substitutions, which I'm sure we'll get into later on.
Yeah.
But it's hard to be too negative about it, but it's also hard to get any kind of good feeling about it because the 2 points were dropped when they were there to be taken.
Yeah. Ben, what's your opinions on it? Obviously, look, I think it's our worst start in Europe in 41 years, which is not good reading. And we currently sit 21st in the league table. What's your opinions on the game? Were you happy with what you saw, or is it another just disappointing night in Europe?
I was happy with the first half. I think first half we did what we needed to do, and like I say, once they scored, the game just died as such, didn't it? Got a bit boring. No real chance. I think it's a good point in Turkey. It's just at the wrong time. We need the 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll get down through your comments as well, guys. Make sure you're getting your comments into the live chat. We'll get through them in a moment as well. A number of different points I want to go through, and some of them are we'll start at the back going forward, and they're individual, I suppose, points more than anything else. And the first one, Oisín, is Andre Onana. He's starting to put in some really, really good performances and settling in really well. And, I've been impressed with, and I think he's vital to how we've been playing this season with, and again, I go back to, especially with when Martinez went to left back, Onana's nearly playing as another centre half, and giving us that extra player in midfield. But he's putting in a run of really good games now, and he's starting to show his worth.
He is. He's the player that we signed from Milan 2.5 years ago, however long ago it was. Last year, he had no continuity in front of him. I mean, what was it last year? Was it 50-something different combinations of centre
I think
halves we had in
60
front of him.
something. Yeah.
60 something. So he had no continuity in front of him. He was never going to get set into that team. Okay, he had a few mistakes. Bayern Munich really kind of jumps out at you, and you always go back to that. But he's a goalkeeper, so mistakes like that are going to be magnified anyway. If a goalkeeper makes a mistake, it's going to be a goal. If a midfielder makes a mistake, that can be glossed over. But I think he's getting confidence now playing behind a slight. Now, again, it's not, I don't think, our first choice back four, but it's definitely the more settled back four that we had last year. And even those that are coming in now, there seems to be a continuity of performance. Even when Maguire came in for those 2 games, Johnny Evans was our man of the match before the international break. There seems to be a continuity of understanding between whoever goes in at the back four there. The only position I'm slightly worried about is right back because Dalot seems to he's kind of taken a backward step.
Yeah.
Tonight, a few of his passes weren't great. Position wasn't great in some on some of their attacks. But I think when we get some players back fit like Shaw, Malacia, Euro, I think the competition will a little more and he'd step up a bit more. But Onana has definitely he showed why we paid the 50 million we paid for him, and he showed why Ten Hag was so desperate to get him in. He knows Ten Hag's system, and we're playing out a lot more from the back now than what we were with De Gea.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben, moving on to the defence. I agree with what Oisín is saying there. I think we are starting to get a very settled, back four. Albeit there has been one or two little changes to it. I want to focus on Martinez specifically, and maybe De Ligt as well. Big shout out to him. I think he's been doing fantastic since the international break. But when the likes of Lenny Yoro comes back, I don't think it's outside the realms of possibility that Martinez maybe goes back to left back. And we may have a back four then of whether it's Dalot or Mazraoui at right full with De Ligt, Yoro and Martinez.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, that's a good problem to have, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at what we've had for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Maguire, Lindelof, they're not good enough, are they? So.
Yeah, and it goes back to what we were saying in the watch along as well, that we're starting to see a bit of depth, maybe more than anything else.
Yeah. You've got De Ligt's like a modern Vidic, isn't it? He'll go into anything.
Yeah.
He'll put his head anywhere. He'll do what he wants. And Martinez is the same. And we had 2 players like that for ages.
Yeah. And Oisín, what do you make of Martinez at left full? Like, again, I maybe I'm overhyping it a little bit. I think it's probably just nicer that we've got a left-footed player playing at left back for the first time in a long time. Because again, like when I go back to what I was saying there about him playing left back, he doesn't overlap and get forward like a traditional left back. So he tends to be defending that inside left channel, which he does when he's playing centre back anyway. You know what I mean? What do you make of him, left back or centre back, or are you just happy to have him in the team?
Get back to your first point of a left footer playing on the left hand side. I mean, you all know my thoughts on how football should be played. Keep it simple, square pegs and square holes, and round pegs and round holes. Just keep it simple. I think he's our best left footed defender. Even when Shaw and Malacia are fit, I think he's our best left footed defender. And I was watching him after you made that comment about Dalot pushing on and him stepping in. I was kind of watching his position, and I think you have it nailed on there that we are going to probably see a bit more of a back three, and we'll attack more on the Rashford side of things than what we would with Garnacho, than what we would with Martinez's side, as opposed to what Shaw would do. So I think we should see that going forward. The only thing I'd have there, the only concern I have there is Garnacho doesn't offer any defensive cover there. He doesn't track back as much. So if Martinez gets caught out or whatever, we will be exposed on that side because of that.
Yeah. It's something that opposition our opponents could potentially take advantage of. I agree. Chris is in. Chris, well, what did you make of the game? Is it a point gained away from home in Turkey, or is it 2 points dropped? What's your thoughts?
I think it's a point game. I don't think we've ever won when we play in Turkey. That's just a fact. Even going back to Sir Alex, anytime we played in Turkey, we haven't won. So I think
Did we
it's
win that? Did we win that? Sorry to cut across you.
yeah.
Did we win that Welcome to Hell game in the early 90s?
I
No?
don't think I don't think
Oh,
so.
did we not? No. All right. Okay.
No.
No, but I don't know. I mean, we played all right. I mean, again, at the beginning of the show, wasn't happy with the lineup, all that, But I mean, I don't think we have a lot of options at this point,
Mm.
and you know, like we were talking about. Ocean was talking about Martinez. I mean, Martinez is going to play more of a. He's going to play more defensive, like you said. He's going to go more back three, and then you're going to try to push down the right side with Delo trying to overlap and so forth. And
And
to be honest, it's going to leave Garnacho not having to do as much defensively because Martinez isn't going to be overlapping
yeah,
or doing any of that.
I think the main reason for that is to overload the midfield, though, is to get an extra player in midfield, more so than just overlapping on one side. You know what I mean? If you're pushing Delo on, like, we know that Delo can come in and play in midfield. You know what I mean? He tends to do it an awful lot when we're in transition to make up that extra number.
Yeah.
Is Ten Hag looking for maybe superiority in midfield in terms of personnel more so than, maybe quality?
I think so. I mean, I think we always need help in the midfield because, like we've talked about before, we've been played through so many times in the
Yeah.
midfield because we're so open that maybe he is doing that, but then that tends to make you think. Then all the rumors about Frimpong and all those other guys, like those guys aren't. They're not the guys that are going to do that to play in the midfield because he's an overlapping outside back or left or right back and so forth. But I mean, we didn't play bad. I mean, we didn't. I mean, but besides Rashford's missed goal, in the first half, Rashford's chance, the goal that we did get, I don't think we really threatened too much after that. I mean, it was kind of a ping pong game. Ball back and forth, but no, I mean, but. I mean, do you play for a tie when you're in Turkey? I don't know, but I mean, my thoughts are we need a win, and we didn't. I don't think we really went for it. It didn't seem like it.
Yeah.
We weren't trying to press forward and get the win and get the 3 points. So maybe he was happy just getting 1 point and walking on at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get down through some of the comments here, guys. I know loads of them are flying in here. We'll scroll back a bit. Let's see. Adam says we need to get turn these leads into victories. This is happening too often now. We can't keep switching off and making these mistakes. D says he's got no plan B for us to fire back when the opposition equalise or go ahead. Well, I mean, plan B, I think he did have a plan B, and I think that was bringing on Rasmus Højlund for Xerxes and switching around the midfield. I think it is a plan B. I don't think there was a massive structural change within the team. It was just personnel. Party Pooper says, spot on, Ben. It's a good point to get in Turkey. Just a bad time when we need 3 points. Yeah, and I think, look, if we had won the first couple of games, I think we'd be a lot happier tonight with a point, away from home. It's just circumstances. D said this would be a good point if we had done anything in the other two. Warren says it's good to see Onana making some good saves, but his distribution leaves me pulling my hair out. I thought it was good tonight, but it was yeah. I didn't think he gave it away that much at all. Finn says we can't score goals, and that's a big concern. We'll talk about that in a moment. 64 different defensive combinations, says D. Dylan says, should we have sold one? No, we're not getting into that. Benny says, desperately need a number 9 and a Delo replacement. Shaw might as well not be playing anymore with injuries. Leaving Højlund on the bench is another Erik ten Hag blunder. Well, I disagree. I think we scored the goal when Xerxes was on the pitch. Xerxes got the assist. And I think it was an isolated incident that they scored. Adam says we need a big signing in midfield and up top. We should have broke the bank for Kane. This just needs to be dealt with. Every team has recognised game winners, goal scorers, and goal creators. We just don't. Chris, you're nodding your head there. Is it? Are you frustrated with Højlund? I mean, I've been.
No. I'm more frustrated why we even bring up Harry Kane why anybody brings up Harry Kane, because I mean, I and me from back when that was going on, I thought that was a pipe dream to begin with. So
Yeah.
I never thought we were going to be in for him at all. But at the same time, like like you said when we scored, Jack, the one thing that I said when you're going crazy was that we scored on the counterattack.
Yeah.
But other than that, like we didn't really do much other than the counterattack at that point. We didn't like against Brentford, we possessed the ball. We were different. We played a lot better tonight. We played more
Yeah.
I want to say we played more defensively and we tried to counter more than anything. And maybe that's what you need to do when Xerxes on the field. I mean, it's
No,
different
but what I
ways to play with different personnel, and I get that. But my problem is that we haven't been consistent enough to make changes from game to game.
Yeah, but what I would say, what I would push back slightly on that is, playing Brentford at home is different to playing Fenerbahce away. You know what I mean? And you're always going to well, I think personally, for the opening 10 or 15 minutes, you're always going to come under savage pressure in the likes of these games. And I think we dealt with it quite well and found ourselves 1-0 up then on said counter attack.
No, and I agree with you. I agree with you on that. But at the same time, I think that it's the issue for me is that even after you weather the storm of the first 15 minutes or so and everything like that, and yes, we were 1-0 up, but we still didn't play the same after that as we tried to weather the storm. Like it's like I'm not happy with the fact that like when Xerxes comes on, we have to play an entirely different way than when Hoyland's on because I don't think we're set up for that yet. Our players aren't ready for that yet. Like, you know, it's kind of like, when other people make subs, they kind of play like for like. It's just new energy and everything like that. When we have our subs come on, it's like we have to play it entirely different and everybody has to change. And I don't love that. I'm not saying it's
But
the worst thing in the world, but
were we not given out a couple of weeks ago that his substitutions are all just like for like, and that there is no plan B?
I think like for like meaning the same players for the same players, but they don't play the same way.
Yeah.
That's my big thing. It's like, it's always Hoyland or Xerxes, it's always Ahmad for Rashford or Garnacho, it's this for that. But it's like we don't my problem is I didn't like the way we played even after the first 15 minutes. Because
Yeah.
we weren't possessing the ball, we weren't dangerous at all, to be honest with you, after that goal. Like
Yeah.
I mean, Rashford had his opportunity, and that was uh the one big the one big thing. But other than that, no, I don't think
You can
that
always
was
tell when someone gets a text message on their phone when
yeah,
they're talking like that, because you were mid sentence and then you just went
yeah.
and
My bad.
anyway, I want to talk a little bit about the lack of goals, Oshin. I'll go to you on this one, because you've been quite vocal on it in the past as well. Highland is improving, I think. You know what I mean, and he's showing signs of potentially being, the striker that we want to be. And look, he scored 16 goals last season with basically zero service. Is there a cause for concern? Because again, I mean, you look at the league table in the Premier League. I think we're a minus goal difference again. I think already, goals are not a premium. But again, me being the optimist here is that we've got say a player like Rashford who's very inconsistent throughout his career. We've got a young player like Garnacho who's not yet consistent enough putting the ball in the back of the net. Do we just need to give these guys time?
Yes, but how much time do we give them? Do we give them another season and we end up mid-table? Do we crash out of Europa? The one chance I think we have of getting any European football next year, I think top four is gone. I think the thing about Rashford is he's not given the service. I think the way we're set up to play is our wingers are inverted, they come in, and I don't know if Highland fits into that system yet. I think when he was at Atlanta, he was the focal point. Everything went to him. Whereas now we're kind of playing through him to play 1-2s on the corner for our wingers coming in, or our wingers come in and shoot. I mean, Garnacho, I don't know if Garnacho knows to put his head up when he gets across the box to play the ball in. He just seems to have a shot. Rashford was the same last year. The head went down and the shot was going in.
Yeah.
But because Rashford's not scoring, or because Hoyland's not scoring, we need the other players to step up and score as well. But that's not happening either.
Yeah.
Eriksen had a great goal tonight. It was It was a well worked goal. Garnacho played in, Xerxes laid it off. It was a well worked goal. But we're not seeing enough of that from either midfielders coming forward because, like Chris has said, our midfield is being played through because we're playing so far back. We need to get one more player further up. And the way that our 6 is playing, he's so far behind our 8, so far behind our 10. We're just too easy to be played through. But I know that you asked us not to start picking on players who were just in, but I'm still not convinced by Xerxes. I don't know what he's doing there yet.
Yeah.
If he's a 9.5 or a 10, let's try him in a 2 with Highland. And look, I know you said Highland's come back from an injury. My thought is, my thought process is, if he's good enough to be on the bench, start them, and then if he's got to come off, he comes off, but start them.
Yeah.
And Chris, you said if we've known them to change him up, we'll change up the structure, which is what you were just talking about there. We'll change up the style of play rather than having a like for like coming off the bench. I think we've got to try and start doing some different things. I would like to see some different things. I don't think it's going to happen because Erik ten Hag doesn't work that way. But I would like to see some change. I mean, I would love to see 2 up top. Does have to be 4 and 4 behind them, but have a 2 up top at least and see how that goes and see how Highland plays with Xerxes.
Yeah. Ben, any update or any additions to that? Is it again, I agree with Oisin. I would like to see a 2 up top. I don't know how structurally that would change the team, or will Ten Hag go for it? But do you think there's a concern there with lack of goals, or again, will these players just take time?
There's a concern about lack of goals, but I think there's goals in our team. Rashford can score. We know Garnacho can score. Hoyland can score. I think I'd like to see Xerxes and Hoyland play together. I think Xerxes could feed Hoyland what he needs.
Yeah, I've been very close to him.
Yeah, like I say, going in with your wingers going inverted, and with Xerxes is different, and he'll get the flick-ons, win the ball, look for Hoyland.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let me get down through a couple of comments here and we'll see what people are saying. Let's see, where am I? We could have the first team. No, I don't know. Sorry, the lads are talking between themselves. Where are we? D says, why wasn't Amas played tonight to allow Martinez to be central? Yeah, look, I think with Harry Amas, I mean, to put him in away from home in Turkey for a young guy like that is an awful lot to ask.
If you're not going to play him at home in England, you're not going to put him in Turkey.
And I think a lot of the reports are suggesting as well that Ten Hag and the coaching staff don't think he's physically ready yet, which is perfectly okay because he's not the biggest of chaps either. You know what I mean?
I think he's getting experience being on the bench there, though, isn't he? That's enough for a young lad, isn't it? So
100%. And he will get game time. You know what I mean? He will get game time eventually throughout the season. Adam says, we're the biggest club in the Premier League, in Premier League history, and we don't have one superstar player like other big clubs that have 3 or 4 examples. Erling, Salah, Saka, Palmer. We don't have anything like that. Well, you don't specifically need that. You know what I mean? I mean, Leicester City won a league title with a bunch of no ones at the time that turned into somebody's because they won the league title. Party Booper says, I think give us 2 or 3 years and we'll be back as title contenders. Well, look, I mean, young squad there, and if we continue to build the way we've been doing so far, then I think, I don't think we'll be too far off it. Finn says, is there any chance of a loan deal in January for any mercenary that can find the net? I don't know. I haven't even thought about it, to be quite honest with you. I still have PTSD from the last transfer window doing so many videos. He's not getting any service this season yet either, says Daryl. That's true, and maybe we do miss Bruno Fernandes a little bit in the 10 there tonight, when you're talking about, trying at least to get the ball in, into the lads up front. Right, look, guys, big remaining fixtures, okay, but we've got PAOK next, then we've got that Guild team, and then I think it's Rangers then after that, isn't it? So we've got more. How many more have we? Have we only got 3 games left, or have we got more? We should have more, shouldn't we? I don't know, whatever. Anyway, my point is surely, the fixtures, Oisín, will be slightly easier than what they've already been. and you would be hoping that we can pick up the points to at least get to the last 16, if not automatic qualification.
Well, look, as United fans, we're always hoping. You always hope going into a game. We might all bitch and moan about the team selection, and we might all just give out about the decisions Ten Hag makes. But we always hope that they go in to want to win a game, and that they go in and will win the game.
Yeah.
Recent history.
I've got the fixtures here, sorry. PAOK, Bode Glind, Victoria Pilsen, and then Rangers as the last one.
I mean, all 4 of those you would think should be winnable.
Yeah.
You would like to think, but you would also like to think that the 4 before this, with maybe tonight as an exception, were winnable as well. And it just seems to be, just even thinking back, it's individual errors. It's just small mistakes that we just can't seem to. Against 20, for example, Eriksson giving the ball away, and Maguire pulling out of that tackle. That was 2 of his errors in the one move that led to the goal. Just these small little things. If we can eradicate those, great. We're just having a problem trying to get rid of those. And look, I know I'm one of his biggest critics, but once the players cross the white line, Ten Hag really can't control the decisions that are made out there for individual players. I mean, if there's one plus to be taken tonight, is we're still unbeaten in Europe.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, it's a good point.
4 points from 4 points, isn't it? Or 3 from 3, 4 from 4, 3 from 3?
3 from 3.
3 from 3. I mean...
And 2 of them were away from home as well, I think, weren't they?
20 and tonight were both away from home, weren't they?
Yeah.
And they're not easy places to go to. Going to Holland and going to Turkey.
It's great having someone else positive on the channel besides myself for once. You know what I mean? Putting the positive vibes out there.
We have to find the positives as United fans at the moment, because they're not as free coming as they used to be, free flowing as they used to be. Let's. I think West Ham. If we can get a good result against West Ham at the weekend, and by a good result I mean a win, then that'll be a week where we got unbeaten, and let's build on that.
A positive week.
Yeah. It is a good week when you consider the teams are playing. Last week,
build that
Brentford on a high.
consistency that we're looking for.
Exactly. Now West Ham are probably not in the best place. I mean, I would say they're worse than us, which takes a lot of saying at the moment.
Yeah.
They're not in the best place. But getting back to Europe, we should. I can't see us getting automatic promotion. We'd have to put a serious run together and hope for favours and people. But I'll be happy to get you to the next round. I think a team like United deserves to be in a European competition into deep rounds.
Yeah, and that's what we want to see. We want to be in quarterfinals and semi-finals, don't we, when it comes to March and April and so on and so forth. Right, guys, we'll leave it there. Appreciate you coming on as always, Ben, Oisin, appreciate, and Chris, wherever he's gone. Yeah, sure. Look, I'll be back on Sunday. We'll talk to you the weekend. All right.
Yeah, catch you later.
Appreciate it, boys. Thanks everyone for watching as well, guys. Sorry if I didn't get to your comment as we were going through them there. Do smash a like on the video on the way out if you haven't done so. It helps out the channel an awful lot. Please do that. Subscribe if you are new to the channel as well. Look, I mean, not the worst result in the world. A point away from home in Turkey against Fenerbahce or the likes of Galatasaray, whoever it may be, is never the end of the world. And like we were saying, if we had won the 2 previous games, I think we would be a lot more happy with these games tonight, or with the result tonight. So look, it's not the end of the world. Let's move on to West Ham on the weekend and try and keep the positivity going, because there are a lot of positives there. It has to be said about, you know, individual performances. Onana looked really good. Ugarte looked really good. The forward line again is starting to gel even more. So not all negatives. That's what I leave you with. Stick around though for the remainder of the week, guys. We'll have the match preview coming up for the West Ham game as well. We might actually do that tomorrow night. I'll let you know. If not, it'll be a pre-record for Saturday. I do appreciate you watching, guys. Like I said, smash a like in the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll chat to you over the weekend. Take it easy.